This map of California tracks one of the most prolific series of violent crimes in American history. Between 1974 and 1986, a single perpetrator committed at least 120 burglaries, over 50 sexual assaults, and 13 murders. His terror spread across 3 distinct phases, migrating from the San Joaquin Valley as the Visalia Ransacker, to the Sacramento suburbs as the East Area Rapist, and finally to Southern California as the original Night Stalker. His methods were terrifyingly precise. He engaged in exhaustive pre-surveillance, mapping escape routes and learning the daily routines of his targets. Then he'd execute a hot prowl, breaking into homes in the middle of the night while the occupants slept. He blinded them with a flashlight, bound them using specialized knots, and inflicted hours of severe psychological torture. Yet for decades he evaded capture. During the 1970s and 80s, law enforcement agencies operated within strict, almost impenetrable geographic boundaries. Without digitized databases, crucial evidence like the specific diamond knot ties or the theft of single earrings remained trapped in siloed, local paper files. Detectives simply couldn't connect the regional crime sprees. The fragmented reality of 20th century police bureaucracy created a blind spot. These disconnected jurisdictions allowed a highly mobile serial predator to operate across the state undetected. But there was another reason he knew exactly how to slip through the cracks. Joseph James DeAngelo was an active-duty, college-educated police officer during his most active years. He actively weaponized standard police procedure against the investigation. Using a radio scanner, he intercepted localized dispatch communications, tracking patrol movements and perimeter setups in real time. When police established dragnets, he knew exactly how to beat them. After one attack, he evaded a massive perimeter by burying himself in a shallow trench under a dense bush until the search collapsed. He also knew that police canine units of that era were trained primarily for narcotics, not complex human scent tracking in suburban neighborhoods. In 2001, forensic science caught up to the evidence. Investigators extracted a definitive biological profile from cold case kits using short tandem repeat, or STR, DNA analysis to link the Northern and Southern California crimes to one man. But when they ran that profile through CODIS, the closed law enforcement database, they got 0 matches. The killer had no prior qualifying felony convictions. DeAngelo was the ultimate insider, weaponizing the physical limitations of policing to remain a faceless ghost. While institutional police work hit a wall, the survivors refused to be silenced. Their enduring trauma and decades of advocacy forced the cold case to remain in the public consciousness. True crime author Michelle McNamara took up the cause, aggregating the disparate regional police files into a single archive. She recognized that the regional nicknames diluted the threat, so she coined a unifying moniker to focus national media awareness: the Golden State Killer. Where strict internal borders caused the closed police system to fail, it took civilian obsession to unify the narrative and demand modern technological intervention. That intervention arrived in 2018. Investigators moved past traditional law enforcement DNA matching and deployed a new technique: investigative genetic genealogy. Traditional STR analysis evaluates 13 to 20 genetic markers for direct matches, but a SNP microarray assesses over 600,000 markers. This density lets geneticists calculate shared DNA segments to locate distant relatives, like third, fourth, or fifth cousins. Unable to access commercial consumer databases without a warrant, investigators formatted the killer's SNP profile and uploaded it to GEDmatch. This was a free, public platform where citizens voluntarily uploaded their raw ancestry data to expand their personal research. What followed was painstaking genealogical research. They triangulated matches backward in time to a 19th century common ancestor. From there, they traced descending lines, building a tree of 1,000 people. This visualization shows the mathematical elimination process. By applying rigid exclusionary criteria, eliminating females, individuals who were deceased during the crime sprees, and anyone whose age or location didn't align with the attacks, the matrix of variables collapsed onto a single viable suspect: Joseph James DeAngelo. The public's voluntary, open-source curiosity about their own heritage supplied the exact data points that the closed police system lacked. To confirm the genetic hypothesis, law enforcement initiated covert surveillance. They retrieved a discarded tissue from DeAngelo's trash, which provided an exact one-to-one match to the biological evidence preserved from the murder scenes decades prior. On April 24, 2018, police arrested the 72-year-old outside his quiet suburban home. The apprehension shattered the compartmentalized double life he had maintained for 30 years. During the 2020 legal proceedings, survivors reclaimed their agency. Over 4 days of emotional victim impact statements, they confronted the killer and stripped away his courtroom facade of physical frailty, as he was sentenced to 11 consecutive life terms. The physical capture closed a horrific 40-year chapter of trauma, formally rendering an unsolvable case closed. But the arrest ignited an immediate global bioethical debate. It introduced the concept of networked privacy, the reality that one individual's voluntary cheek swab exposes the unalterable genetic blueprints of their entire extended family without their direct consent. This revelation forced a major industry reckoning. GED Match transitioned to a strict opt-in model for law enforcement searches, and the Department of Justice drafted new guidelines limiting this technique exclusively to unsolved violent crimes. Despite the privacy concerns, the methodology pioneered in this investigation established a new template for policing. Specialized genetic genealogy units have since utilized this exact method to clear hundreds of previously intractable cold cases worldwide. A predator who flawlessly exploited the shadows of a closed 20th century police system was finally brought into the light by the open, voluntary data of the 21st century public.